How's it going, Elkhorn football families? Mr. Galani here, coming to talk to you guys about our off-season football May updates. So one of the reasons I like to do this way is to alleviate a lot of the confusion that we have at this time of the year. In this update, we're going to talk about kind of some hot button things that a lot of parents get confused on, and hopefully I can clear up any thoughts that you might have on it. So we'll start with the calendar. So last year, I know I did a hard copy of the calendar, which really, in hindsight, wasn't really a good choice, just because with all the changes that we had, it was pretty liquid. So I went to go find a different option, and what I did was I found a Google spreadsheet that I'll share with all of you in this email that basically outlines by month all of the different things that are going on each day. So in June, you can see that we have our strength and conditioning class. Again, the expectation is that we're all signed up for that class. If you're an upperclassman, the class that we want you to be in is 6:30 to 8 o'clock. If you're an incoming freshman, we do the same class at 8 o'clock to 9:30, and that class is meant to kind of been driven towards the freshman athlete as to get them more acclimated to our gym and the processes with how we're doing things in the weight room. It is, if you are in that situation, freshman parents, of your student and your child is doing like 8 o'clock PE and 10 o'clock health, to get that out of the way for the school year, then the only option would be 6:30. So it's not that we don't want freshmen in the 6:30 class. We kind of wanted to isolate them in the 8 o'clock class if possible. So that's the first thing for strength and conditioning. We do have this week from the 4th to the 8th off with no strength and conditioning at all, no football related things at all. On the 11th, though, when we come back, we'll have strength and conditioning in the morning, and then we do our youth camp from 3 to 5, which all the boys will be invited to help out with that if they want to with our youth. I think it's awesome that we have the ability to give back to our program and our kids and our community. And despite what our kids think at the high school level, the kids at the youth level absolutely adore and love the fact that our kids are involved with that stuff. So we always have a really good turnout as far as our kids helping out with the youth. So again, that youth camp is from 3 to 5, and our camp will coincide right after that from 5 to 8. So that will go July 11th through the 14th. On the 14th, we'll probably do a cookout after our last practice, and then we are going to do a team camp lock-in that will involve the juniors, probably sophomores, juniors, and seniors. That we will lock in. The freshmen will be exempt from that. Where we had a good time last year. We basically lock them in the school. We have the gym, we have the agility center, and we have kind of the team room that's there, and we have a whole bunch of things that are set up. Last year, the guys played bags, they played poker. Some of them stayed up all night, some of them crashed pretty early. It is a long week of camp, so that goes from the night of the 14th into the 15th. And that 7 a.m. we'll have some breakfast kind of sent in, and then they're released after that whenever they need to leave. So that's that week of camp. And then on the following week, on the 19th, we have signed up to be a part of the 7-on-7 tournament / lineman challenge at Burlington High School. So anyone who wants to do that can be a part of it. I'd like to get at least one lineman challenge team involved. If we have more, great. They do a lot of cool events that, technically the linemen get excluded from a lot of things, and when it comes to 7-on-7 and stuff like that. So I think it's important that we have opportunities to show our skills in different skill set. And then we go our last week of strength and conditioning is right here. So again, 3 weeks in July, 1, 2, 3, 3 weeks in 3 weeks in June and 3 weeks in July. And then we start, unlike a new rule, unlike last year, we do not have separate days for equipment handout and the first day of practice. All of those things will be done at the same time, on the same day. So even though our day ends up being what looks like a long day of practice, it's actually a short day practice, according to WIA standards. But we are going to use that whole time to do equipment handout and do testing and things like that, and get prepared for our short practice at the end of the day. And you can see the first 2 weeks are broken up by short day, long day. And all that means is the WIA puts different standards on what we can do on a short day and what we can do on a long day, and we can't have 2 long days in a row. So we're not practicing the entire time period that you see here. We're actually doing meetings, and we're doing things inside that coincide with the day of practice. But on the long days, we can actually get 2 practice sessions. The last session is an hour, and it ends up being in like lesser pads than we were before, in the mornings, or in the first part of the practice. So I just want to go over the August schedule because there is a lot of confusion with this. We do have a practice on this Saturday, and that's realistically the only Saturday that I ask of my kids in my program. I believe that Saturdays and Sundays are for family, my coaches especially, and we get away from the grind of football to be with our families. We get our work done on the weekends, and then we be efficient with our time during the week. And so I think kids need to get away from the grind of football as well. So again, this is the only Saturday that we ask, and it will be in the morning, as opposed to the rest of the evening practices. There is a set amount of days that you need to get in of practice before you can actually scrimmage. So in this scenario, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you need 9 practices in before you can actually get to the scrimmage. If we have a kid miss a practice, he'd either have to make that practice up, or he's not going to scrimmage. So we are scrimmaging at home versus East Troy. It's going to be a one-on-one scrimmage. It's going to be a different scrimmage than we have done in the past. East Troy is a little bit smaller than us, so we cannot have the JV and the varsity scrimmage at the same time. So we're going to have different schedules there, and I will post that stuff once we get closer to that, to know exactly what teams are practicing and scrimmaging at what time. Basically, everything will be done on the varsity football field. We will probably have a cookout after that as well for all parties, and including East Troy families and things like that. So that should be a good time, and that's hopefully a good partnership moving forward. Even when we have to go there, it's a 10-minute drive, so that's really advantageous for us to work together. And then the freshmen have a scrimmage the next day. So this is just sophomore through varsity. This is just freshmen. We've had a good relationship with Lake Geneva Badger, and them hosting a freshman-only scrimmage. They do it on their backfield where the soccer plays on the turf. And about 4 or 5 or 6 schools come. We get to see different people that we would never play, which is awesome. And they get 3 or 4 scrimmages in, so it's a really good time. And when we get into game week, just to give you some examples of game week, again, our Mondays when we get into game week and when we're in the season are a little bit longer. We're going to get a lift in after practice, as opposed to, this is a traditional time on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. 3:30 to 5:30 is traditional. We are going to go a little bit longer to get an extra lift in on our Mondays. Thursdays are always going to be game days for JV1 and JV2. The first week we do not have a JV2 game because the WIA says that JV2s can only have 8 games total. So again, only JV1 will be playing at home at 6 o'clock on the 18th, and then obviously varsity is always opposite of the schedule of the JV1, JV2. So we will be away at Delavan on 7 o'clock. On those days where there's a varsity game, there's still JV1 and JV2 practice. Okay, I think that's important. Another note to remember is on Labor Day, I have to remind everyone we do have practice on this day. It is at the normal time of 3:30 to 6 o'clock. So hopefully if you do have Labor Day plans, you're at least back by the time practice starts. You do have the morning and the afternoon until 3:30. But we do have practice on those days. So this is a liquid document. It will be changing as things go on. So I will link this in the email, and we'll go from there. If you have any questions with the schedule, please let me know. All right, back to our slideshow. Physicals are due by the first day of practice, which is August 2nd this year. Sometimes we run into a situation where the last kid's physical was done, when they were in seventh grade or eighth grade, and it was done in August like 20th. And your insurance doesn't allow you to go get another physical until you're at August 20th. I do believe that if you had another physical set up for that day, whatever that day would be, you're cleared until that day. You just have to communicate that with Mrs. Aller. If you are in a situation where you need to find a physical and can't get into your doctor because it's taking too long or for whatever reason, there is the doctor's office. It's literally called the doctor's office in Darien. It does cost $50, but you can get your sports physical done there. We've had some students do that last year. It's a really simple in and out process. I know that there's obviously a cost involved with that, but if our backs are up against the wall with a physical, and it's a difference between your kid being able to participate in that, that's another option for you. Okay. A couple expectations of the program. We don't give out very many physical pads that go on our legs anymore. In fact, the new jerseys that we got and the new pants that we got for our new jersey set for the varsity does not even have the inlay for thigh boards and hip pads and those things to sit in there. It's just going to be cloth or whatever the material is over the top of their girdle. So our effort is to have girdles. We do have kids that do both 5 and 7 pad girdles. The difference is the knee pads. A 5 padded girdle is not going to have knee pads. If we are doing a padded practice, the expectation is that they do have knee pads in. So that's something that to think about. I would just buy 7 padded girdles. You can find them online. I will have, once we get our team store up, I'll have Kenny Reynolds put some links in. He does sell them as well through his team store, so that can be a one-stop shop for you if you want to. But they are accessible at Dick's or at Dunham's or on the internet on Amazon. I found both these pictures on Amazon. Typically, a nice pair is around $35 to $55. I wouldn't spend anything over $50. I mean, they can get pretty extravagant after that, and you're not regaining anything more from it. So, next expectation obviously is shoes, and I have to bring this up because our turf is different than most fields, and your athletes and your students children can attest to that. It's different. Doesn't mean it's terrible. It just means it's different. So one of the things that I like to talk about is just give some education on what works best on our field. And you can see here, it's important that we stay away from the detachable cleat. So these are the ones where you take a key and you can spin it and they spin out and you can put new ones in. Those cleats end up not working really well on our field. There's less cleats that are available for the field or for the cleat to grab. That's one of the main reasons why. There's usually nothing in the midsole right here. Like as you can see, there's no cleat there, whereas some of these are going to have more options in the middle, especially the molded ones. I don't recommend detachable cleats at all, but you can see these are the ones that would be recommended. Again, I don't care what brand or how much money you're spending, but you can see we want sharp bite to get those cleats in and have as many cleats as possible. This would be an example of a lineman shoe. Linemen don't have as many issues with our field as what we call our skill guys, the guys that have to cut really hard, full speed. So typically guys that are touching the ball. So guys that would be touching the ball, we would want them to be in shoes like these that have a lot of different cleats, that are sharper, not necessarily big, thick moldeds. But the moldeds are going to be the ones that are basically molded on. They're plastic. They are not detachable like this. So if you have questions with the shoes, please don't hesitate to reach out and call me and let me know. All right. Oops. All right. Again, our summer camp schedule is right here. I do have a class community link that is linked in this, and I'm going to share this in the email as well. That class community link looks like this, and all you need to do is make sure that you are signed into class community. So if you don't have an account, you need to sign in, and then once you're signed in, then you can register for the event. I'm charging $10 just to get the kids a shirt. That's it. So we're doing everything basically for free. with as far as our coaching time and things like that. It's not about money, but I do want to get the kids a shirt and not have to worry about that. Like I said, we have the 7-on-7 competition of the linemen. All right, I am going to organize, hopefully soon, I can get some parent response for our football parents club. So just some of the things that they've done in the past are organizing functions throughout the football season, help with summer functions such as camp week, barbecue, and lock-in, the weekly team feeds that we did. I know last year we did um, any away game. I believe we did team feeds at home on that Thursday night. So again, we can work through that as we go forward. They organized the booster club workers for games. Guys, I want you to know that I never want you to work when your kid is participating. Okay, so if you're a varsity parent, you need to be working during a JV1 or JV2 game, and vice versa. If you're a JV1 or JV2 parent, then you should be working during a varsity game. Obviously, we need to communicate well through those things throughout the season. And my parent group is the people that I will contact to be a part of that. Another aspect is organizing the chain gain crew, which is the chain gain is the people that get to hold the first down markers on the sideline. It is a front row seat to the game. Unfortunately, you do have to be on the visiting side, which is sometimes not always pleasant, considering some of the language that our opponents use to coach their kids, which is sad. But that's part of it. We did have some issues with finding consistency with people last year, so it'd be awesome if I said, you know, three parents that want to do the JV1, three parents that want to do the JV2. The varsity games are kind of taken care of. We organize those on our own, but if I had the same 6 people, that'd be awesome. Then I could just plug and play and not have to worry about it each week. So let me know if you're interested in that. And then again, summer school strength, I went through all that stuff with you. So if you have questions after this email, please feel free to email me or give me a call back, and we can talk then. Hopefully this alleviates any questions or confusion that you might have had moving into the season. And go Elks. We'll talk to you soon.